Hello and welcome to the African Hub for Sustainable Creative Economies Knowledge Hub Nairobi. My name is Ogake Mosomi and I'm the lead for the AHSE Nairobi Fashion Hub at the University of Nairobi. I'm here today with Wandia Gichuru, founder of Vivo Fashion Group and ShopZetu. Wandia will be sharing her extensive experience as an entrepreneur and intermediary in the fashion scene, how she sees the sector developing and offering some amazing advice for young creatives starting out in the field. So thanks so much, Wandia, for taking the time. I know you've been super busy with everything that's happening with ShopZetu and Vivo.
We started thinking about ShopZetu about 4 years ago, when we wanted to invest more time and energy on trying to sell our own brand online, because we were doing great in our stores, but we weren't seeing the same traction online, or is not as much as we had hoped. And so we started looking at the options. Do we have to sell entirely ourselves? Are there other platforms we can list on? In many other parts of the world, we realized that there are marketplaces, general marketplaces like Amazon, which in here the equivalent would be Jumia, but they also had dedicated fashion marketplaces. So ASOS in the UK, Zalando in Europe, Zalora in Southeast Asia, and so on. And that was a way that a lot of fashion brands, were able to offer their products online, and customers were able to go to one place and see a wide range. So it was almost like the department store concept, but taking it online. And so you could search by brand, you could search by a particular product type and see the multiple brands that offered it. You could compare prices, you could look at reviews. And we realized that that didn't really exist here in East Africa, catering to the local market. So what we found is there are a number of platforms that promote African brands internationally, like Africrea, but there wasn't really any that were focusing on the local market. And so you had a lot of small sellers, traders, brands, fashion entrepreneurs who were selling, but they were selling directly. So it was either through a website, and most often was just an Instagram page or a Facebook page. But you would have to go and order individually from each of these different suppliers and have a different shipping cost or whatever else. It was quite inconvenient from a consumer perspective. And so we thought, well, there's such a gap in the market. It's a concept that's been proven in other parts of the world, and we think there's a need for it here as well. Support these brands to grow, whether it's through helping them with content creation. We can offer a full service there. We can offer customer service as well, so you can warehouse your product with us, or you can choose to drop ship, which in our case means that you hold your inventory, but when an order comes through, we'll arrange to collect it and deliver it to the customer. But we can also warehouse for you. We can provide data and insights as to your products and how they're doing within that particular category. So if there's pricing, we see all the feedback from customers, the questions that are being asked, so we can pass that on. We can help with, product development, guiding on quality aspects. So there are a lot of brands that we do more than simply just list and sell their product. We are really trying to be a partner and helping to lift the entire industry, because we believe that local fashion is still only scratching the surface. Like, major majority of everything that people in this part of the world are wearing was not made here. And so how are we going to capture more of that market? By improving, by upping our game, by offering better products, better pricing, better styles, so that people have a reason to want to buy it, not guilt tripping people into saying, oh, you must buy local because it's a good thing to do. You actually want to give people a better product, better service, better price point. The benefit of being able to buy products that were designed for you, so from a consumer point of view, if you can meet a need, so, every market is different, the ecosystem is different, the environment is different, the weather is different, the culture is different, what's popular is different. So I think what I see shifting over time is that more and more brands are starting to realize that they can offer something unique. And so they're able to then customize products. They're able to build in cultural aspects to what they're offering that resonate. They're able to take into consideration people's different, body shapes and sizes in their offerings. So I'm seeing the match between the customer need and the product offering starting to come closer together. I'm seeing people being a lot more creative in terms of how they're putting pieces together, ways in which they market, how they use social media to attract people, to resonate, to build a story. And so I'm seeing brands, really stepping up. And I think that's exciting. I think they're seeing the result. Customers are noticing and appreciating it. And so I think things are moving in the right direction. I think the challenges are still there, and some of them are quite significant. The challenge of being able to access raw material, having a wide enough range of fabric that you can work with at a price point that will make sense for the market. All of those things are sort of structural challenges. The difficulties in terms of being able to import what is not available locally, and how many hoops you have to go through, how much it costs. All of those things, I think, are challenges that hopefully we will address over time. But the demand is definitely there. My advice typically is to first of all, to always have your customer in mind. I mean, as much as creatives sometimes, are living in a world where they're trying to come up with something that's new and different, has never been seen before. Remember, there's, if that is not just a hobby that you're doing for fun, ultimately you need a customer to buy it. And so to continue to be creative and to think outside the box, but to remember that you're designing for a customer, and this customer has needs, and how are you meeting those needs in whatever you're offering? Are you, positioning your product correctly? So is your price point, does it make sense for the customer that you're speaking to? So sometimes, where we want people to buy at a certain price point, but the people we're speaking to can't afford that. Or you want them to pay a lot, but your product doesn't meet what someone would think is value for money. If you're going to pay 20,000 shillings or $150, whatever it is, for an article of clothing, then you expect a certain quality, a certain type of fabric. So I think just being very clear about what your value proposition is, who you're selling to, at what price point, how you're then marketing it, who you're talking to, and taking small and manageable risks. So there's always risks, but I wouldn't make too many assumptions and assume that because you love it and two or three of your friends and family told you it's amazing, it doesn't necessarily mean that the market will respond. So the sooner that you can get product in front of real customers, and by real customers, I mean people you don't know, who are buying it because they like what you're offering and because they like the service you provide, not because you twisted their arm. The sooner you can do that and start to get market information, the market will always speak to you. And then you take that information and you use it very constructively to go back and refine what you're offering and refine, either the service or the product or both. I think take advantage of platforms like ShopZetu, take advantage of digital tools, because you can come up with a collection. Back in the day, you would need to produce hundreds of units in order to present it physically to people. Now you can actually just do a few, make a beautiful lookbook or photography content, market it online, use influencers, stuff like that. It's so much easier now to build a brand without having to do the heavy lifting around capital intense type investments like physical stores. I'm not saying, I still think physical stores are needed, especially in fashion. People want to touch, feel, try on, but you don't have to have your own store right away to start. So pop-ups, markets, listing on in somebody else's boutique saying, well, can I can I sell my stuff on consignment? So you're not even asking them to pay upfront for anything. There are multiple ways that you can get your product in front of people. So yeah, that would be my advice. And try to learn from what others are doing, but don't copy.
Yeah.
If you want to build a brand, you have to have something unique that you're doing or that you're offering. And I think a lot of people just see somebody else doing something and they think, oh, they're doing well, let me just copy. And I mean, personally, I feel that is only so far you'll get. And then it just becomes a price war. Whereas if you're offering something unique, people will pay for that. And then you can have healthier margins, and then you can manage your risks a bit better.